It's week 5. Storms had blown in, temperatures had plummeted, and things had started to break. On December the 5th, Louis Burton on Bureau Valet became the second skipper to have to retire from the race. His J2 stay attachment system had failed. The J2 foresail is rigged to the main forestay on a furler and is left in place for the duration of the race. After 10 hours spent searching for a solution, he realised that this couldn't be fixed at sea, and there was a real risk that he could lose his mast. It was desperate luck for this hugely popular and experienced skipper who'd already carried out major structural repairs to his hull and deck in the Atlantic. But after exploring every option to stay in the race, there was nothing for it but to turn back, upwind towards Cape Town, battling through gales and huge seas. He made it safely into port on Sunday.
Alors les prochaines étapes, il y a un peu d'administratif parce que quand on arrive par la mer quelque part, voilà, il faut faire un peu l'administratif. Ensuite il y a mon équipe qui est arrivée en avion hier avec du matériel pour remplacer tout ce qui a cassé, notamment les pièces structurelles. On va faire ça, on va refaire encore des renforts sur les réparations de coques et de ponts et reprendre la mer dès que c'est possible pour rentrer en Europe.
Meanwhile, at the front of the fleet, Charlie Dallin on Massif Santé Prévoyance was opening up a lead. Together with second place Sébastien Simon on Groupe de Grey, Dallin had chosen to stay in the path of a fast approaching and deep depression. That way, after an initial battering, they could stay just to the north of the centre of the low and position themselves to take the best conditions. But this was not without its risks. The weather system was a vicious one, with wind speeds of 70 knots. To stay in the safe zone, they'd have to keep pace with the weather system. A breakdown could see them slow down, where they would be hit by the storm as it passed through. In addition, if the path of the depression moved too far south, they would find themselves pressed up against the Antarctic Exclusion Zone, or AEZ, with nowhere to go and be hit by the potentially boat-breaking conditions. But the gamble paid off. Jon Richem on Arkea Paprec had been with the leading two, but seeing the gamble, he decided to break away to the north, out of the path of the approaching storm. It cost him plenty of distance and brought him back into contention with Thomas Royan, Jeremy Bayo, Nicholas Lundven and Sam Goodchild. They too had deliberately positioned themselves further to the north, away from the worst of the storm. The group didn't escape the heavy weather entirely, but avoided the 10-metre seas and fierce gusts that had been forecast. After the dust had settled and the depression had passed through, Dallin and Simon had increased their lead. They were the furthest to the south and able to take the shortest distance around the bottom of the world. But because they were pressed up against the AEZ, they were carrying out multiple jibes to keep inside the boundary. Further back, the Roaring Forties was living up to its name.
Day 27-ish. I'm waiting for a big low pressure to roll over the top of me at the moment. It's got cold quite quickly, and it's not the air temperature. The air temperature is about 13 degrees, but the sea temperature is cold, and I just feel that through the hull. Everything is wet. Everything I touch is cold and wet. And that's how it's going to be. Checking on the weather over the next few days, you see there's quite a lot of red on my screen. So I'm over here, there.
Petit-déj avec avec mon ami le chauffage électrique. En fait, les hydrogénérateurs, ils font trop d'énergie, donc j'ai un petit radiateur électrique là, un petit air pulsé. Ça pour assécher le marin, c'est nickel.
So yesterday, I made a terrible mistake. How that's right. That was my big Jenica off the side of the boat, completely in the water, when the boat was doing 20 knots in wind speed of 35 knots. It was just a huge mess. This is a big sail, the second biggest that I have on board the boat, and it's the one that lives on deck normally. And I knew that last night I was going to go through a front and have to jibe, and I was concerned about my ability to move the sail around from one side to the other in really strong conditions. So I guess I made a shortcut and I left it tied up really well on the deck, but on the leeward side, so that when I jibed it would be on the windward side. But the boat was going so fast that the waves on the deck were so powerful that it shredded the bag and dropped the sail in the water. And so when I heard a banging noise, I went up to investigate. My heart sank. I thought that it was going to be impossible to get this back on board the boat. But I slowed the boat down. I got ropes around the sail. I started dragging it on board with winches, and then little by little managed to get all of this back on board the boat, and then safe inside. And thankfully, the sail stayed filled up for the most part, and it doesn't look to be too damaged. There's a few little holes, but things that I can fix myself. And so, yeah, this is what it looks like. It's a big mess at the moment, but I'm confident that I can get it back. But that was a terrifying and frustrating moment, and I was convinced that it was going to be impossible to get it back.
Avec des rafales à 60. Et là c'est un peu la guerre hein, quand même hein. La mer elle est bien déchaînée là. Ça fume, ça fume. C'est beau mais... 6-8 mètres de mer.
Meanwhile, Vendée Globe presenter Andy Robertson caught Koji Shiraishi on DMG Mori Global One Vision at an awkward time.
Fantastic. Koji, great to see you with a big smile, and we'll see you in a few days. All the best.
All looks well until you see Koji leave his nav station and climb out through the companionway on his side, and then see the seat straps and trousers floating freely as the boat is laid flat. 5 battens and the main sheet traveller were damaged as a result of this broach. This required a lengthy repair, but afterwards, a smiling Koji gave an update.
12月の8日、非常に清々しい朝です。顔見たらわかると思うんですけどね。皆さんありがとうございます。ご心配おかけしました。セールが無事上がりました。ご覧のようにね、一番上から1、2、3、4、5本の、メインセールがバテンがね、骨組みですね、折れたんですけども全て回収しました。そして、トラベラ全て直しました。ありがとうございます。本当皆さんにちょっと心配かけましたね。本当すいませんでした。
For others, it was pancake day.
Excellent.
Ça va être une bonne celle-là. C'est pas mal, hein?
And Conrad Coleman was having a better day.
Wow, what a beautiful day! Look at this! Sun! Sun in the Southern Ocean. It is beautiful. We've got the good configuration of sails, so the fractional Jenica and one reef in the main. It's blowing 25 to 30 knots. In a little bit of a lull at the moment, but this way I can come out of my my little shower curtain. It's like being born every time I come out of here. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that it's beautiful and sunny and wonderful sometimes too.
In other news, Briek Soudé was having a haircut. But on Monday, news came through of significant damage to Sébastien Simon on Groupe du Bray in second place.
Et oui, je ne l'ai pas dit plus tôt, mais cette nuit, on a cassé un foil. On a perdu le foil tribord. Voilà, donc il était 17h TU, donc en fin d'après-midi chez vous et en pleine nuit ici. Et j'étais en train de dormir quand le bateau est parti au tas d'un coup et ça m'a réveillé. Je suis allé dans le cockpit, redresser le bateau, choquer les écoutes et j'ai très vite senti aux sensations que quelque chose clochait. Le bateau répondait plus tout à fait de la même manière et très vite j'ai compris qu'il s'agissait du foil. Alors au début je croyais qu'il était juste remonté, que c'était le bout de descente qui était cassé, mais non, c'était pas ça, donc j'ai été vérifié sur le pont et en fait le foil était cassé au niveau du coude, c'est-à-dire la partie la plus courbée du foil qui est la plus profonde aussi.
But this was not a race-ending breakage. Pundits were quick to point out that Alex Thompson finished second in 2017, having broken his starboard foil 13 days after the start. But the loss of power will be keenly felt by Simon, and his disappointment was understandable. Remember, this was the skipper that shattered the 24-hour distance record in the South Atlantic, so we'll be keeping our eye on his pace relative to those around him as the race progresses. On Tuesday, Pip Hare had news.
The last 24 hours turned out to be pretty brutal with the sea state. The waves kept getting bigger, the wind stayed right up there. I had 40 knots for a while, and then the wind lifted, so it started turning, which meant that my course ended up, instead of with the waves behind me, with the waves on the side, but then also the wind was side onto the waves, which made the wavelength shorter and made the waves start breaking, which was quite violent. And then you just slam into the next wave at over 30 knots, and the impact on the boat is huge. I mean, the noises are phenomenal. Quite a challenge and a learning experience for me, because I've never been down here with foils before. You know, this is new for me, trying to understand how to regulate and that sort of thing. I discovered that I do have a crack in the bulkhead forwards. I think I caught it in early stages, and there was no way on earth I could address it yesterday. There's no way I could have gone up to the front of the boat and worked. But I do need to repair it, and I need to repair it today before the next big weather system comes in. I'm going to start assembling all the kit up forwards, and I'll do the repair today. The sea is dying down. I mean, it is just incredible. I mean, it's incredible out here. Just the colours and the way they change. Just earlier on it was the most intense blue, and now there's cloud cover over, and so everything has gone kind of slate grey. it's like everything is reflecting off each other, and the harmony of the light, and it's just amazing. But you know, this is part of the race. Part of the race is dealing with this stuff. We expected it to happen. We've got the tools on board to sort it out. My job is to sort it out, get things back on their feet again, and get going again. So that's what I'm going to do.
At the front of the fleet, Charlie Dallin continues to impress. As he led the fleet past the longitude of Cape Lewin at the western end of Australia, he was over 160 miles ahead of Sebastian Simon. And his passage time to there from the Cape of Good Hope sliced over 9 hours off the existing record time set by Michel Desjoyeaux in 2008.
Cap Lewin, franchi, en tête, yes, c'est bon, et franchi d'ailleurs pendant que je dormais. J'étais en train de faire la sieste. On l'a franchi il y a une demi-heure à peu près, à 14h, à 15h11 heure française, pour être précis. Ça y est, on est sous l'Australie. Donc non, c'est cool ça. Un super tronçon indien qui s'est plutôt bien passé là. Et ouais, vraiment heureux de passer ce deuxième cap mythique du Vendée Globe en tête. Trop bien. Yes.
So, on Wednesday night, the leaderboard looked like this. Charlie Dallin had extended his lead to 339 miles. Sebastian Simon was still in second, but there were possible signs that his foil breakage was affecting his speed, with third place Johan Richomme closing in. Sam Goodchild was 7th, Sam Davies 13th, and Pip Hare 16th. Jean Le Cam had regained the lead in the Daggerboard fleet, which is now passing the Kerguelen Islands, followed by Tanguy Le Turquet and Louis Duc. That's it for now. We'll be back with all the latest developments in the next programme.